Have you ever considered that the very way you're settled in your chair, right at this moment, might be a quiet source of risk to your health? Picture it. You're in your favorite armchair, the television humming softly, a warm drink in your hands. It's a picture of perfect contentment. But what if I were to tell you that this simple act of sitting, something we do every day, could be subtly increasing the risk of a stroke? Today, we're going to gently open a door to a conversation that rarely gets the attention it deserves. How some of our most common sitting habits, the ones we barely even notice, may be quietly working against our well-being. But please, don't be alarmed. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness, and about the small, gentle changes that can make a profound difference. I won't be listing cold, hard facts or throwing complex medical terms at you. Instead, let's just have a quiet chat, you and I, about our habits, our comfort, and our health. If you're someone who spends a good part of your day seated, whether you're watching television, reading a book, working on a puzzle, or simply chatting with those you love, then this message is especially for you. Before we begin, I'd be curious to know, has it ever crossed your mind that your posture could affect your health? Just type a 1 for yes or a 0 for no. And please do make sure you've subscribed to Health 365 so you never miss a conversation that could help safeguard your future. Now, let's begin with our first habit, one that is more significant than most of us realize. It's a habit so ordinary, we almost never question it, simply sitting still for long stretches of time. Perhaps you're curled up on the couch, lost in a favorite film, or sitting at the kitchen table, sharing stories with family. Maybe you're knitting in a cozy chair by the window. It all feels so harmless, so comforting. But when we remain in one position for too long, without moving our legs, we may be unknowingly setting the stage for something dangerous. You see, when we sit motionless, the blood flow in our body slows down, particularly in our lower limbs. Imagine a river that has lost its current. Eventually, things begin to settle, to clump together. This sluggish flow makes it easier for blood to thicken and form clots. If one of those clots were to break free and travel to the brain, it could block the supply of blood and cause a stroke. What is most concerning is that this often happens without any warning. It doesn't take hours upon hours. It can begin quietly while we are simply enjoying our daily routine. But again, there is no need to worry. I am not suggesting you must be on your feet all day or give up your favorite seat by the window. Sitting is not the enemy. Stillness is. Our bodies, even in their golden years, are designed for movement. It doesn't need to be strenuous or tiring. It simply needs to happen. You can start with simple, gentle changes. Set a quiet reminder on your phone or a nearby clock. Every 30 to 60 minutes, just stand up. Stretch your legs, roll your shoulders, or take a few steps around the room. If you're watching television, use the commercial breaks as your cue to move. Even small motions like flexing your ankles, wiggling your toes, or rotating your feet in circles while you sit can help pump blood back through your veins. Here's another easy trick. Keep a small bottle of water beside you. Not only will you stay hydrated, which is essential for healthy circulation, but it provides a natural reason to stand up and refill it. Plus, regular hydration encourages bathroom breaks, which also count as valuable movement. So the next time you find yourself settling in for a cozy afternoon, just remember, a few moments of movement every now and then can be your quiet protector. All right, let's move on to a sitting habit that can seem quite elegant or relaxed, but carries its own hidden risks. It's something nearly all of us have done without a second thought. Crossing our legs. It feels natural, almost graceful. For some, it's more comfortable. For others, it feels like polite or proper posture. But sitting with your legs crossed for long periods of time can create hidden problems, especially for your circulation. When you cross one leg over the other, and particularly if you favor the same side every time, you place extra pressure on the veins in your lower limbs. This pressure can hinder the smooth flow of blood returning to your heart. Over time, this kind of strain can contribute to what is known as venous insufficiency, a clinical term for blood not flowing properly through the veins. If this poor circulation leads to blood pooling or clotting, it can elevate the risk of a clot reaching the brain. And that's not all. Crossing your legs can also cause a slight, temporary rise in your blood pressure, especially when one leg rests above the knee. Researchers have found that this gentle squeezing of major blood vessels can create a ripple effect throughout your circulatory system. While the pressure increase may seem minor, when it's done for hours every day, it adds up, especially if your body is already managing age-related changes in your blood vessels. So, what can you do? The first step is simple awareness. Just begin to notice how often you cross your legs and for how long. If it's your go-to posture, try to alternate which leg is on top. Or even better, practice keeping both feet flat on the floor. Placing a small cushion or a footrest under your feet can also help you feel comfortable while maintaining a healthier position. It may take some time to get used to, but your body will thank you for it. You can also try gently massaging your calves or rotating your ankles from time to time. These small movements help to awaken the circulation and keep everything flowing as it should. And remember, the goal isn't to never cross your legs again. It's simply about not remaining in that one position for too long. Next, let's explore a habit that affects more than just your legs. It's about your posture and how something as simple as slouching or letting your head hang forward can quietly disrupt the flow of blood to your brain. This is a posture that sneaks up on most of us. Slouching with a rounded back, or letting your head drift forward for extended periods. It's a habit that creeps in when we're deeply engrossed in a book, scrolling on a phone, or just feeling a bit tired. It doesn't seem dangerous. In fact, it often feels relaxed. But this simple posture can quietly interfere with one of the most vital functions in your body, the steady flow of blood to your brain. When we let our head drop forward or curl our shoulders inward, we place stress on the muscles and blood vessels in our neck. These vessels, especially the carotid arteries, are the primary highways delivering oxygen-rich blood to the brain. Even a mild, sustained compression can reduce that flow, forcing the brain to work harder to get what it needs. For some, this might lead to occasional dizziness, fuzzy thinking, or headaches. But over time, it can contribute to more serious concerns, especially when combined with other risk factors like high blood pressure or stiffening arteries. There's another layer to this. When the head tilts forward, it becomes functionally heavier. The average human head weighs about 10 pounds, but as it leans forward, the strain on the neck multiplies. This constant tension can lead to stiff shoulders, spinal misalignment, and long-term issues that make proper blood flow even more difficult. But here is the encouraging part. Posture can always be changed, gently and gradually. You don't need to sit perfectly straight like a soldier. A few small adjustments can help. try sitting in a chair with good back support, or tuck a small cushion behind your lower back. When you can, keep books or screens at eye level so your head doesn't need to dip forward. If you do find yourself looking down, take regular pauses to roll your shoulders back and lift your chin. Just a minute or two can make a world of difference. Even breathing deeply while sitting tall can help. As you inhale, let your chest rise and feel your body gently reset. So the next time you notice yourself curling forward, just smile, sit back, and give your brain the clear, open pathway it deserves. Now, let's look at another common sitting habit that can throw your body out of balance in a different way. One that many people adopt without ever realizing the hidden strain it creates. It's a habit that may seem casual, almost stylish, sitting with one leg tucked underneath you or leaning to one side. Perhaps you always tuck your right leg under your left, or you shift your weight in your chair to rest on one hip. It might feel comfortable at first, even familiar, but over time, this uneven posture can create a quiet storm inside your body. When you consistently sit with more weight on one side, your pelvis begins to tilt. Think of your pelvis as the foundation of your body. It holds everything in alignment. When it shifts, your spine, hips, and muscles all try to compensate for the imbalance. This can lead to pressure on nerves and veins, particularly those running through your lower back and legs. This pressure doesn't just cause discomfort, it can slow down circulation, irritate nerves, and increase the risk of poor blood return from your legs. Some people who sit this way often experience a tingling sensation in one leg, a numb foot, or a persistent stiffness in their lower back. These are signals your body is sending, little nudges telling you that something is out of balance. For older adults, who may already have some degree of joint wear or reduced flexibility, this kind of uneven posture can quietly increase the risk of chronic back pain and circulatory issues that lead to swelling and clotting. So, what is the fix? Once again, awareness is the key. The next time you catch yourself favoring one side, gently shift your weight and plant both of your feet on the floor. If that feels strange at first, try placing a small rolled towel under your feet, or use a cushion to support your back and hips more evenly. If you're sitting on a soft couch, a firm pillow placed under your hips can help keep your pelvis more balanced. It's also incredibly helpful to stand and walk around for a minute every so often. This simple act resets your posture and helps your body return to a more neutral, healthy position. If you've been sitting off-center for years, don't worry. It is never too late to create new habits that feel just as natural. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about giving your body the fair, balanced foundation it needs to rest upon. Next, let's explore a choice many of us make without thinking, especially at home, that can quietly restrict blood flow more than we'd expect. It's something so ordinary, most of us never give it a second thought. The type of chair you're sitting on. Maybe it's that cozy armchair in the living room that sinks when you sit down, or the kitchen stool that's just the right height for your morning coffee. But here is something you may not realize. Sitting in a chair that's too low, too soft, or that doesn't support your back can quietly affect your circulation in ways that add up over time. When your chair is too low, your knees often rise higher than your hips. This might feel comfortable for a moment, but it puts sustained pressure on the underside of your thighs. And right there lie the major veins and arteries responsible for carrying blood back toward your heart. When they're compressed, even slightly, the blood flow slows. This can cause blood to pool in the lower legs and feet, which over time can lead to swelling and, in more serious cases, the formation of blood clots. Now, consider poor back support. Without it, most of us naturally begin to slouch. That slouched posture pulls your pelvis out of alignment, rounds your back, and puts a strain on your spine. It can also subtly shift your weight in a way that further compresses the blood vessels in your lower body. For older adults, especially those already managing reduced mobility or vein health, this combination creates a hidden strain on circulation. But you don't have to give up your favorite seat. Instead, you can make a few gentle modifications. Start by checking the height. When you're seated, your hips should be level with or slightly higher than your knees. If your chair is too low, simply add a firm cushion to raise your self-pull. If your feet don't reach the floor comfortably, place a footrest or even a stack of sturdy books beneath them to support your legs. For your back, a small cushion or a rolled towel placed in the curve of your lower back can help maintain your natural spinal alignment and prevent slouching. And of course, it's always a good idea to get up every 30 minutes or so to stretch your legs and take a short walk, even if it's just around the room. Comfort does not have to come at the cost of your health. With just a few thoughtful adjustments, your favorite chair can support both your relaxation and your well-being. Now, let's move to one final habit. This one is more about your surroundings than your posture, but it still affects your body in ways you might not expect. Let's talk about something that isn't so much about how you sit, but where you sit, and how that environment affects your body. Have you ever spent time sitting in a chilly room? Perhaps near a drafty window in winter, or under an air conditioner that's a bit too enthusiastic? It might feel refreshing at first, but sitting in a cold environment for too long can quietly impact your circulation in ways most people don't consider. When your body feels cold, especially in your arms, legs, hands, and feet, it reacts by narrowing the blood vessels near the skin's surface. This is your body's clever, natural way of conserving heat and protecting your core temperature. But when those vessels narrow, the flow of blood slows down, and when blood moves more slowly, particularly in the extremities, it increases the chances of clotting and poor circulation. For older adults, this effect can be even more pronounced. As we age, our blood vessels tend to become less flexible, and the body's ability to regulate its temperature becomes less efficient. Add to that the fact that many seniors take medications that can affect circulation or blood pressure, and the impact of a cold environment becomes even more important to consider. You might notice that after sitting in a cold room for a while, your fingers or toes feel numb, your legs feel heavy, or you get sudden chills. These are your body's warning signs, telling you that blood flow isn't optimal. And while it may seem harmless in the moment, that sustained reduction in circulation, if repeated often, can increase the risk of cardiovascular issues, including stroke. So what can you do? The solution is beautifully simple. Stay warm. This doesn't mean you need to turn up the heat all day. It can be as easy as using a lap blanket, wearing cozy socks or slippers, or dressing in layers. If you're sitting near a draft, try closing the curtains or blocking the draft with a rolled towel. Even small comforts, like sipping warm drinks or placing a gentle heating pad near your feet, can encourage better circulation. Comfort is not just about how you feel, it's about how your body functions. Keeping warm helps your blood move freely, your heart work less hard, and your brain stay sharp. Now that we've explored these 6 quiet habits, let's take a moment to bring it all together and talk about what you can do next to stay safe, comfortable, and healthy each day. So, as we've gently uncovered these everyday sitting habits, perhaps you're thinking about how you've been sitting today, or yesterday, or even for years. And that is perfectly all right. This journey is not about guilt. It is about awareness. Knowing that something as small as how and where you sit can quietly affect your health gives you a wonderful power. The power to choose a little differently, one moment at a time. Your body has carried you through a lifetime of memories, challenges, laughter, and love. It deserves to be supported in return, with comfort, with care, and with a few simple adjustments that can make a world of difference. Whether it's standing up a bit more often, shifting your posture, or warming your favorite reading corner, every small step counts. You don't have to change everything at once. Just pick one thing that feels easy and start there. Your future self will thank you for it, quietly, every day, in the form of stronger circulation, fewer aches, and a greater peace of mind. If you found this conversation helpful, please leave a little 1 in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Health 365. Have you ever heard of someone who went for a walk in the evening and never came back? It's a heartbreaking thought, but it happens more often than we'd like to imagine. A quiet evening stroll, something so ordinary and peaceful, can become a moment that changes everything. And for many older adults, the danger doesn't always come from a fall or from traffic. It's often something deeper, something happening silently inside the body. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but walking is supposed to be healthy, right? And it absolutely is. But not all walks are created equal. The time of day, the weather, even how you move your arms or when you last ate. These factors can quietly turn a harmless stroll into a health hazard. So today, we're going to talk about something most people overlook. 6 walking habits that can actually raise your risk of stroke, especially as we get older. You might be surprised by how small changes in your routine can make a big difference in keeping your heart and brain safe. And please, don't worry. This is not another preachy health talk. Think of this as a friendly chat, just you and me, figuring out how we can walk smarter, not harder. Some of what you hear might sound familiar, but today we're going to dig into the why and what you can do to stay safe. If you've ever enjoyed an evening walk, I'd love for you to drop a 1 in the comments. If not, a 0 is just fine. And please remember to subscribe to Health 365 so we can continue to bring you insights that truly matter. All right, let's dive into the first thing that might be making your evening walks riskier than they need to be. Many of us cherish our evening walks. They feel peaceful. The sun has set, the world seems to slow down a little. But here is something surprising. Not all evening walks are beneficial for your health. In fact, walking too late at night, especially after 8 or 9 o'clock, could be quietly raising your stroke risk. You see, our bodies follow a natural, internal clock called a circadian rhythm. This clock tells us when to be active and when to rest. As the day ends, our bodies naturally begin to wind down and prepare for sleep. But when you head out for a walk late in the evening, particularly a brisk walk that gets your heart rate up, it can send mixed signals to your brain. Instead of calming down, your sympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for your body's alarm response, can kick into gear. Your heart beats faster, your blood pressure rises, and instead of preparing for rest, your body gets energized, as if it's getting ready for a morning run. For older adults, this sudden stimulation late at night can be risky. Higher blood pressure during the nighttime hours is one of the biggest hidden threats. Many strokes occur during sleep, and a spike in pressure just before bed may be a contributing factor. In fact, sleep specialists and cardiologists have noted that patients who exercise late at night often report poorer sleep quality and, in some cases, have experienced irregular heart rhythms. Think about it. Have you ever gone for a walk after dinner, only to find sleep eluding you later that night? That restless feeling, perhaps a flutter in your chest, or even waking in a cold sweat? That could be your body signaling that it's overstimulated. And the issue extends beyond just your sleep. When you walk late in the evening, particularly after a large meal, your body is tasked with double duty, digesting food while also fueling your moving muscles. This divides the blood flow between your digestive system and your limbs, which can inadvertently reduce the amount of oxygen reaching your brain. For some, especially those with a history of high blood pressure or heart conditions, this delicate balance can be tipped, leading to dizziness, lightheadedness, or even more serious cardiovascular events. So, what's the solution? Try to schedule your walks earlier in the evening, ideally before sunset. Better yet, consider a gentle, calming walk in the crisp morning air as your body is naturally beginning to wake. This way, you can still embrace the benefits of movement without disrupting your internal clock. Now, let's consider another walking habit, one that seems trivial but may be subtly compromising your brain health without you even realizing it. Have you ever paid attention to how your body feels when you walk slouched over, with your gaze fixed on the ground? It might seem insignificant, but your posture could be quietly restricting the oxygen supply to your brain. When we walk with our head tilted forward, shoulders hunched, and arms held stiffly at our sides, it does more than just affect our appearance. It disrupts our circulation. Our bodies were designed for harmonious movement. Proper posture allows the chest to expand, the lungs to fill with ease, and the heart to pump blood efficiently. But when we are bent over, even slightly, that natural rhythm is broken. Reduced blood flow to the brain means less oxygen and fewer nutrients reaching their destination. For older adults, this can manifest as feeling lightheaded, off balance, or even faint. In some cases, for individuals with underlying vascular issues, it could heighten the risk of a transient ischemic attack, or TIA, what doctors often call a mini stroke. Though it may only last a few minutes, a TIA is a critical warning sign that something more serious could be looming. A study at the University of Tsukuba in Japan examined how posture influences cerebral blood flow during walking. Researchers discovered that individuals who walked with a forward-leaning posture and limited arm movement experienced a significant drop in blood flow to the brain compared to those who walked upright with a natural, swinging stride. This is a crucial finding, especially for seniors who may already face challenges with circulation. Think about your last walk. Were your shoulders relaxed? Did your arms move freely? Or were you clutching a phone, looking down, perhaps with your hands tucked in your pockets? It may seem like a small detail, but a simple shift in how you carry yourself can work wonders for your circulation. The next time you head out, try this. Stand tall, roll your shoulders back, keep your gaze level with the horizon, and let your arms swing naturally. You will not only feel more confident, but you will also be helping your brain get the oxygen it needs to keep you sharp and steady. Let's now explore a walking habit that is almost universal, yet it has everything to do with what's on your plate. Walking immediately after a meal might seem like a sensible idea. Many believe it aids digestion or helps burn a few extra calories. But the truth is, if you hit the pavement before your body has had a chance to process your food, you could be putting your brain at risk. After you eat, your body's priorities shift. Blood is redirected to your digestive system to break down food and absorb nutrients. This is why you might feel a bit drowsy after a large meal. It's your body channeling its energy inward. But when you begin walking too soon, especially at a brisk pace, your muscles start competing for that same vital blood flow. Your legs demand more oxygen, while your stomach insists it's still working. And caught in the middle of this internal tug-of-war? Your brain. When blood flow is split between digestion and physical activity, the oxygen supply to your brain can decrease. This can lead to dizziness, blurred vision, or even feelings of nausea and confusion. For many, it just feels like being slightly off. But for those with a history of high blood pressure, heart issues, or atherosclerosis, the silent buildup of plaque in the arteries, it could trigger a more severe event, like a mini-stroke or worse. In fact, a case series published in the Journal of Geriatric Cardiology detailed several older patients who reported lightheadedness or near-fainting spells shortly after a post-meal walk. Upon monitoring, doctors observed a significant drop in their cerebral blood flow during these walks. A friend of mine, Harold, who is 72, used to cherish his evening routine. Dinner at 6, walk at 6:30. Over time, he began to notice headaches and a strange fluttering in his chest about halfway through his mile. It turned out he wasn't giving his body enough time to digest. Once he pushed his walks to 45 minutes after eating, the symptoms vanished. The takeaway is simple. Walking is wonderful, but timing is everything. Allow yourself at least 45 minutes to an hour after eating, especially after a heavy meal. And if you're feeling particularly full or bloated, it is perfectly fine to skip the walk for that day. There's always tomorrow. Now, let's move on to something that is outside your direct control, but entirely within your power to prepare for. The very environment you walk in could be quietly working against you. When it comes to walking safely, the ambient temperature can be just as critical as your pace or posture. Think back to the last time you walked on a scorching summer afternoon or a frigid winter morning. It probably didn't feel quite right. Extreme weather, whether it's heat above 95 degrees or cold below 60, places additional stress on your body, particularly your heart and blood vessels. In hot weather, your blood vessels dilate to help you cool down. While this is a natural response, for older adults, especially those with high blood pressure or heart conditions, it can lead to dehydration and a sudden drop in blood pressure, leaving you feeling dizzy or faint. If you are taking medications like diuretics or beta blockers, this effect can be amplified. Now, let's consider the cold. In chilly weather, your blood vessels do the opposite. They constrict. This tightening of your arteries can cause your blood pressure to spike, particularly if you're walking uphill or against a strong wind. This sudden surge in pressure is perilous for people with narrowed arteries or a history of stroke. The American Heart Association has noted that the risk of stroke often rises during colder months, partly due to these vascular reactions. A study published in their journal, Stroke, revealed that people over 65 are more susceptible to strokes on days with significant temperature swings, as the body struggles to adjust and the cardiovascular system bears the brunt of the strain. I know a retired teacher named Mary, 68, who used to walk every morning, rain or shine. One winter, she went for her usual walk in 40-degree weather, assuming she'd be fine. 10 minutes in, she felt a tightness in her chest and had to sit down. Fortunately, a neighbor saw her and called for help. Her blood pressure had spiked dangerously from the combined effect of cold and exertion. The good news is, you can manage this risk. In hot weather, walk early in the morning or later in the evening, and always carry water. In cold weather, dress in layers, warm up indoors first, and consider shorter walks. Most importantly, if the weather feels extreme, it's wise to stay inside. Your safety always comes first. Next, we'll examine how the very ground beneath your feet might pose a hidden threat. We rarely give it a second thought, but the surface we walk on, be it a familiar neighborhood street or a favorite trail, can matter immensely. Uneven, sloped, or bumpy terrain can quietly increase your risk of something far more serious than a twisted ankle. When you walk on hilly or rough surfaces, your body must work harder to maintain balance. Your heart rate climbs faster, your breathing deepens, and your leg muscles engage more intensely to keep you stable. While this extra effort might feel like a great workout, for seniors with high blood pressure or fragile blood vessels, it can quickly become hazardous. Here's why. Sudden shifts in physical exertion can cause sharp spikes in blood pressure. If you are already dealing with weakened arteries, this abrupt surge could potentially lead to a rupture, what doctors call a hemorrhagic stroke. Furthermore, if there is plaque buildup in your arteries, the added physical demand could dislodge a piece of it, creating a clot that might travel to the brain and cause an ischemic stroke. Researchers from the University of California studied older adults walking on various surfaces. They found that when participants walked uphill or on uneven ground, their systolic blood pressure rose significantly more than when they walked on a flat surface. That sudden increase, even if it only lasts a few minutes, is enough to trigger a dangerous event in someone with vascular vulnerabilities. I remember Jim, a 74-year-old retired contractor who loved hiking the hills behind his home. One day, after a particularly steep climb, he suddenly felt weak and confused. He sat down, but something felt deeply wrong. He was rushed to the hospital and diagnosed with a minor stroke. His doctor later explained that the combination of intense effort and heat had pushed his blood pressure too high, too quickly. To protect yourself, choose flat, even walking paths whenever possible. Think local parks, running tracks, or quiet sidewalks. If you enjoy the challenge of a hill, take it slowly. Rest often, and monitor how you feel. And if your doctor has advised you that your blood pressure is unstable, it's best to avoid steep paths altogether. Finally, let's cover one last walking mistake. It's incredibly common, yet remarkably easy to fix. And it has everything to do with what you're not doing before your walk. It's a habit few people talk about, yet it affects every single step you take. Hydration, or more accurately, the lack of it. Walking while even slightly dehydrated can quietly set the stage for something far more serious than dry lips or fatigue. It can thicken your blood, elevate your risk of clots, and even increase your chances of a stroke while you sleep. Here's how. When you are not properly hydrated, your blood becomes more concentrated, thicker. This thicker blood flows more sluggishly and is more prone to clotting. For an older individual, especially one with a history of high cholesterol or vascular disease, this creates a perfect storm for trouble. The danger doesn't always manifest immediately. It often emerges after your walk, when your body is at rest. At night, your body's systems naturally slow down. Your heart rate drops, and blood flow becomes less vigorous. If your blood is already thick from dehydration, this slower flow can allow tiny clots to form. If one of those clots travels to your brain as you sleep, it can trigger a stroke without any warning. This is why many strokes occur in the early morning hours. A study published in the journal Neurology found a clear link between low fluid intake and an increased risk of ischemic stroke in older adults. Individuals who consistently drank less than 1.5 liters of water per day showed significantly higher clot formation markers in their blood. It's a silent risk, but a very real one. I recall a woman named Betty, 76, who was diligent about her fitness. She walked every afternoon and ate well, but she disliked drinking water, saying it made her feel bloated. One night, after her usual walk, she felt fine. But the next morning, she woke with slurred speech and weakness on one side. She had suffered a minor stroke. Her doctor later told her that chronic dehydration, particularly after exercise, had likely been a contributing factor. So here's what you can do. Before you go for a walk, drink a glass of water. When you return, drink another. It doesn't have to be a gallon. Just 8 to 16 ounces on either side of your walk can make a significant difference. And remember, if you're sweating a lot or walking in hot weather, you will need even more. Now that we've explored these 6 surprising habits, let's conclude with a final thought. Walking is a gift. Simple, free, and healing. But like any gift, it comes with a responsibility. The way we walk, when we walk, and how we prepare our bodies for it can either fortify our health or slowly diminish it. The habits we've discussed today may seem small, but over time, they carry substantial weight, especially as we age. Remember, walking should bring you peace, not pressure. With a few thoughtful adjustments, staying hydrated, choosing the right time, and minding your posture, you can keep your walks safe, energizing, and truly beneficial. It doesn't require drastic changes, just a little more awareness and a great deal more care. If this has helped you see something in a new light, drop a 1 in the comments. If you've never considered these risks before, give us a 0 and know that today is the perfect day to begin anew. You might be doing everything right, eating well, staying active, and exercising regularly. But what if I told you that some common workouts could quietly increase your risk of stroke? Yes, even exercises that seem safe, like sit-ups, planks, or certain yoga poses, can become dangerous if you're over 60 and not mindful. It's not about avoiding movement, it's about understanding which movements demand caution. As we age, our bodies respond differently. Blood pressure shifts more rapidly, balance becomes less reliable, and certain motions can strain your brain, blood vessels, or heart in ways you may not realize. A quick bend, a sudden twist, or even holding your breath during a workout. These simple actions can trigger dizziness, a sharp drop in blood pressure, or worse. I've seen too many seniors fall victim to this, people who believed they were taking care of their health. That is why today, I want to guide you through 9 specific exercises that may be putting you at risk, especially if you have high blood pressure or poor circulation. If you're over 60 or care for someone who is, this information could be a lifesaver. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever felt dizzy or lightheaded after a workout? And don't forget to subscribe to Health 365. We are here to help you move safer, feel stronger, and stay independent for years to come. Now, let's begin with our first hidden danger. An everyday stretch that seems harmless, but could cause sudden drops in blood pressure. Let's talk about something incredibly common: bending forward quickly from a standing position, perhaps to pick something up from the floor or to tie your shoes in a hurry. It seems like such a trivial movement, but for older adults, this single motion can set off a dangerous chain reaction. When you bend forward rapidly, blood rushes to your head. In younger people, the body's systems adjust almost instantly. But as we age, our cardiovascular system doesn't compensate as swiftly. This abrupt change can cause a sharp drop in blood pressure, a condition doctors call orthostatic hypotension. The result? You feel dizzy, lightheaded, or you might lose your balance completely. Some people even black out. And if you hit your head on the way down, the danger multiplies. A study in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that older adults are significantly more prone to these blood pressure drops after rapid positional changes. This isn't a minor inconvenience. It's a known risk factor for stroke and head injury. I remember speaking with a gentleman who tripped in his garage while reaching for a box. He bent forward too fast, grew dizzy, fell, and ended up with a concussion, all from what seemed like an ordinary movement. Here's what you can do instead. Whenever you need to bend forward, take a moment. Plant your feet firmly, bend your knees slightly, and lower yourself slowly. Use a stable surface for support if you need it. There is absolutely no shame in that. Now, let's gently move from the floor to something a bit higher up: your neck. Because what you do with it might be even more surprising. Have you ever tried to relieve a stiff neck by giving it a quick twist or turning it sharply from side to side? It might feel satisfying in the moment, as if you're shaking off tension, but this can be far more dangerous than you think. You see, running through your neck are two crucial arteries, known as the vertebral arteries. They supply blood directly to the parts of your brain that control balance and coordination. When you whip your neck around too quickly or with too much force, you can actually compress or even slightly tear these arteries. This isn't just uncomfortable. It can severely restrict the flow of oxygen-rich blood to your brain. There was a case reported in the New England Journal of Medicine where a man in his 60s suffered a stroke just minutes after rapidly twisting his neck during a stretching routine. It wasn't caused by a car accident or a fall. It was caused by a stretch. That's how delicate these vessels can become as we age. I met a woman at a senior center who used to do neck rolls every morning. After a few weeks, she began experiencing dizzy spells and blurred vision. Her doctor traced the symptoms back to those very movements. She switched to gentler, slower head turns, and the problems disappeared. So here's the safer approach. Always move your head slowly and deliberately. No jerking, no snapping motions. If your neck feels stiff, try warm compresses or gentle stretches. Even better, consult a physical therapist who understands age-related vascular risks. Ready to hear about an exercise many people believe is making them stronger, but could actually be straining their brain? Let's talk about weights. Weightlifting can be a fantastic way to maintain strength and independence as we age, but only if it's done safely. One of the most overlooked dangers is lifting weights that are too heavy, or worse, holding your breath while you do it. When you lift a heavy object, and instinctively hold your breath, what's known as the Valsalva maneuver. You are dramatically spiking the pressure inside your chest and head. Your blood pressure can shoot up rapidly, placing intense strain on the arteries in your brain. For an older adult, particularly one managing high blood pressure or whose blood vessels have lost their youthful elasticity, that sudden surge of pressure can be a tipping point, enough to trigger a stroke or even rupture a fragile vessel. In fact, a study from the American Heart Association revealed a clear link between these abrupt pressure spikes during heavy lifting and an increased risk of intracranial hemorrhages, a danger especially pronounced in older gym goers. I once heard a story from a retired firefighter, a man who prided himself on staying active. One day at his local gym, he decided to challenge himself with a heavier barbell. Mid-lift, he felt a dizzying rush to his head and nearly blacked out. His doctor later confirmed his suspicion. By holding his breath under the immense strain, he had sent his blood pressure soaring to a dangerous level. So, here is the wisdom to take with you. Lift weights that feel challenging, but always manageable. Breathe continuously. Exhale as you exert the force, and inhale as you release. And if you're ever unsure, seek the guidance of a trainer who understands how an aging body responds with its own unique rhythm. Now, if you've ever found yourself in an upside-down yoga pose, seeking better circulation, what comes next might surprise you. Poses like the shoulder stand or headstand, while appearing graceful and serene, can carry serious risks, especially for older adults. By inverting your entire body, you send a powerful rush of blood toward your head. While some believe this boosts circulation, it can dangerously elevate the pressure inside your skull. As you hang upside down, the blood flow to your brain intensifies. If you already have high blood pressure or weaker blood vessels, common realities after 60, that extra pressure can overwhelm your system. This isn't just a theoretical risk. Neurologists have documented cases where seniors have experienced vision disturbances, severe headaches, and even mini strokes after attempting these poses without proper supervision. I remember a woman from a yoga class who practiced shoulder stands every morning. After a few weeks, she began suffering from pounding headaches and a persistent pressure behind her eyes. Her doctor issued a stark warning. The increased intracranial pressure was putting her at real risk. She switched to gentler stretches, and the symptoms vanished. Instead of turning your world upside down, consider the calming alternative of legs up the wall. It supports circulation without the peril. And always, always inform your instructor of any medical conditions. A good teacher can offer modifications that work with your body, not against it. Now that we've looked at the risks of inverting ourselves, let's take a jog forward. Because when you exercise matters just as much as how. An evening workout can feel like a sanctuary. The gym is quieter, the air is cooler, and it's a perfect way to shed the day's stress. But for older adults, pushing too hard late at night, especially with intense routines like high-speed running or high IT, can backfire. Intense exercise flips the body's on switch, stimulating your sympathetic nervous system. That's perfectly fine during the day, but engaging this system too close to bedtime means your heart rate remains elevated, your blood pressure stays high, and your body lingers in a state of alert, precisely when it should be winding down. For those over 60, this late-night strain can increase the risk of nighttime hypertension, a known factor in strokes that occur during sleep. A study in hypertension research found that high-intensity evening workouts can significantly raise blood pressure levels overnight. This is why doctors often recommend morning or early afternoon workouts for older individuals. I spoke with a retired teacher who used to run every night after dinner. She noticed her sleep was suffering, and once woke up dizzy with a racing heart. Her cardiologist suggested moving her routine to earlier in the day, and the change was profound. If you enjoy moving at night, opt for gentle stretching, slow walks, or calming yoga. Save the vigorous cardio for the daylight hours, when your body is better equipped to handle the demand. Next, let's focus on something small but powerful: your core. And no, this isn't about achieving a six-pack. Crunches and sit-ups, classic exercises many of us have done for decades, might seem like a direct path to a stronger midsection. But for older adults, performing them too quickly can cause more harm than good. When you execute rapid abdominal movements, especially while holding your breath, you create a sudden spike in pressure inside your chest and abdomen. Think of it like squeezing a garden hose. The flow is restricted. That momentary pressure can interfere with normal blood flow, particularly to the brain. Researchers from the American Journal of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation discovered that these rapid exercises can lead to decreased cerebral blood flow in older adults. That drop in oxygen can leave you feeling dizzy, disoriented, or even faint. A gentleman I met at a wellness class shared that he felt lightheaded every time he did sit-ups. His doctor explained that the pressure from the quick crunches was disrupting blood flow to his head. He swapped them for slower, more deliberate core movements, and hasn't had a dizzy spell since. The safer option? Try controlled exercises like pelvic tilts or seated marches. Focus on steady, conscious breathing. Exhale with the effort. Inhale on the release, and never rush the motion. Now that we've grounded ourselves with the core, let's step onto the treadmill, but with a word of caution before you press that speed button. Using a treadmill seems like a safe, weatherproof way to stay fit. But for seniors, one common mistake turns this tool into a hazard: running too fast without holding the side rails. As we age, our reaction times naturally slow, and our coordination may not be what it once was. Moving quickly on a treadmill without support dramatically increases the risk of a stumble. A single misstep can lead to a fall with devastating consequences: fractures, head injuries, or for those at high risk, a cardiovascular event. Health agencies have highlighted that seniors suffer a higher rate of treadmill accidents than any other age group, with a major contributing factor being the failure to use the handrails. I recall a man in his 70s who insisted on jogging hands-free every morning. One day, a minor slip became a major fall. He hit the deck hard and left the gym with a head injury. His physician later said that simply gripping the rails, even occasionally, would likely have kept him on his feet. The smarter approach is to keep your pace steady, not fast. If you feel the slightest imbalance, grab the rails. For an effective alternative, try walking at a steep incline. You'll get the cardio boost without risking a dangerous fall. Coming up next, we're switching gears. This time, it's not speed that's the problem. It's stillness. Let's talk about the plank. Planks are celebrated as a premier full-body exercise. They build strength and improve posture without any equipment. But holding a plank for too long, especially while holding your breath, can place a silent, dangerous pressure on your cardiovascular system. While in a plank, your muscles are contracting intensely to stabilize your body. This effort increases the pressure inside your abdomen and chest. If you're also holding your breath, which many people do unconsciously, you're simultaneously cutting off a steady flow of oxygen and raising your blood pressure. It's like tightening a valve that your heart is struggling to push against. The Journal of Strength and Conditioning. Research. Published findings showing that holding your breath during isometric exercises like planks causes significant spikes in blood pressure. Over time, or even during a single prolonged hold, this can stress your heart and reduce blood flow to the brain. I remember a neighbor who loved challenging herself with long plank holds, aiming for 2 minutes or more. She started experiencing chest tightness and headaches after her sessions. Once she started taking slow, deliberate breaths and cutting her hold time in half, the symptoms stopped. So if you enjoy planks, keep doing them. Just modify them. Aim for shorter durations of 20 to 30 seconds, focusing on deep, steady breathing. And always, listen to your body. Now, let's stand back up, because the next movement is something you do dozens of times a day without a second thought. Standing up and sitting down sounds simple. But doing it too quickly in repetition, as in squats, can catch your body off guard and lead to a sudden drop in blood pressure. This phenomenon is known as postural hypotension, and it's especially common in older adults. When you change positions rapidly, your blood needs a moment to adjust to the shift in gravity. In younger bodies, this reaction is almost instantaneous. But as we age, that adjustment slows. Your brain might not get enough blood fast enough, leaving you feeling dizzy, wobbly, or worse, causing a fall. It has nothing to do with leg strength. It's about how well your cardiovascular system keeps pace with your movement. A friend of mine once added fast-paced squats to his routine, but he started having dizzy spells that left him unsteady for the rest of the day. Once he slowed down, pausing for a moment between movements, his symptoms disappeared. Here's a safer approach. When doing sit-to-stand exercises, rise slowly. Take a breath. Let your body catch up before moving again. And don't hesitate to hold on to a sturdy chair for support. Balance is your friend, not a sign of weakness. And so, here we are, having walked through the quiet risks that can hide in even the most common exercises. This journey isn't about creating fear. It's about fostering awareness. It's about respecting the beautiful changes our bodies go through and learning to move with both care and confidence. Staying active is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. But as we grow older, the goal shifts from pushing harder to moving smarter. Every step, every breath, every stretch can be a celebration of life, if done with intention. You don't need to keep up with the younger crowd or push past your limits. You simply need to listen to the quiet wisdom of your body and honor it. I hope this has helped you see your daily routines in a new light. Perhaps you recognized a habit in yourself or in someone you care about. That awareness is the first, most powerful step towards safer, stronger movement. And if one simple change can keep you safe, upright, and thriving, that is a victory worth everything. Let's keep showing up for ourselves. Let's keep learning, adjusting, and choosing health every day. If this was helpful, please drop a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more tips to stay strong and safe after 60. Until next time, take care of that amazing body of yours. It's gotten you this far, and it deserves all the love you can give it.